I was wrong. Those are the words that many people seem to have trouble saying. For me, I've never really had an issue with admitting that I've been wrong when I've made an incorrect judgment, or I've said something that's been factually incorrect, or I've been duped in some way. I have no problem in admitting when I've made a mistake. For example, I voted for Tony Blair in 1997 because I kind of still trusted the system back then. Obviously, since then, I've wised up and I've changed my position. I used to, when I was younger, I did economics at university, and I was indoctrinated into Keynesianism, and I was wrong. It wasn't until I started reading myself, Ludwig von Mises and Hayek, that I realised that there was another side to this story. So I was wrongly advocating Keynesian economics in my second half of my 20s, and yeah, up until I was probably about early 30s. So, but many people, they seem to have trouble admitting when they've got something wrong. So we saw this during the 91 Divot, obviously. People went along with stupid stuff, went along with evil stuff. They did like ridiculous things like, hit pots and pans outside and, bark at the moon and clap. They went along with all the peasants pantomime stuff. So occasionally I've tried to approach some of the people that I know who kind of were fully on board with the 91 Divot peasants pantomime and ask them, have you changed your mind? And one in particular, no, not prepared to admit. It's obvious that his initial position was an incorrect one, but he will not admit that he was wrong because of ego, basically. I used to sort of think, well, this 91 Divot, it was a bit of an extreme event, but I think what I've realised is that there's an awful lot of people out there who never, ever, ever admit that they were wrong, or they got something wrong. And what I think this is about ego and not wanting to lose face. Last night there was a football match. Manchester United were playing Bayern Munich. Manchester United have hired this new goalkeeper, and in the first couple of games, he's one of these goalkeepers that's very good at with the ball at his feet, passing the ball out from the back with his feet. Very good at that. So first couple of games, all these internet pundits are saying, "Oh, he's fantastic. He's a really brilliant player." Game 3, he starts to make some crazy mistakes. He's not able to save the ball, which is a bit of with his hands, which is a bit of a problem if you're a goalkeeper. So I'm expecting some of these soccer pundits, especially on YouTube and stuff, to have basically sort of hold their hands up and say, well, look, I got that one wrong. I thought that this Onana guy, the new goalkeeper, he was going to be brilliant, but actually I was wrong. He's very good at, and just tell the truth, he's very good with the ball at his feet, but he's no good with his hands. Bit of a problem, blah, 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 blah. Just admit that they're wrong. But they won't do that because of ego, pride, ego. And that stops them from getting at the truth. It stops them discovering the truth. So what I'm saying, the point of this video today is just the importance of humility. If you don't admit that you're wrong when you're wrong, A, you look stupid, B, you lose credibility, and because you've lost credibility, you lose the ability to communicate effectively because people stop listening to you because they can kind of see, well, this person, their ego is getting in the way of the truth. And for me, might be a little bit harsh. I don't hate these people, but I just lose the incentive to want to kind of interact with them. I just think, well, what's the point? Their ego is more important to them than the truth, and they're too proud to admit that they've got something wrong. And obviously, this thing with the 91 Divot, some people made some horribly incorrect assessments. They made some pretty disgusting judgments really about what was acceptable behaviour, like complying, going along with biomedical fascism, for example. So, on an individual level, if you never admit your mistakes, you never admit that you've got something wrong, well, you also lose, you don't develop either as a human being, because life actually is about making mistakes, and then you learn from those mistakes. It's something that I say to my son, like anybody else, he'll make a mistake from time to time, and my response to it is always, don't worry. Don't worry about making a mistake, just learn from it. That's the most important thing. Learn from your mistakes, hold your hand up, say that you got it wrong. So it's good when he admits mistakes. And then I say, just make sure you learn from it, like find out why you made the mistake, and then next time don't do the same thing again. The only thing that I do say to him is make sure you never make the same mistake twice, or more than twice. So yeah, that's all that I want to say really today. It's just this phenomenon that I've noticed, that I think this is something else that I've got wrong. I always thought that I was kind of fairly normal, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm overly open, including being open about making mistakes. So, I will hold my hand up and say that, I voted for Tony Blair. I was taken in by Tony Blair and voted for him in 1997 because at the time, I was, let's call it as it is. This word stupid has come into my mind. Yeah, so I was stupid. I believed all the kind of mainstream media propaganda. I didn't think critically enough. I didn't really understand about politics and what type of person is attracted into politics. And if you're going to offer positions of power, is it ever possible that somebody can be in those positions of power and not end up being corrupted? I suppose I lacked wisdom back then. But if you're arrogant and prideful, you're not going to be able to learn from your mistakes, or learn from your observations that you believed in something that didn't turn out to be true. As I say, another similar one would be, I was indoctrinated into Keynesian economics when I was at university, and I kind of, I believed it for quite a long while, and I only kind of realised my error when I started to do more independent reading myself, and reading books by Austrian school economists like Ludwig von Mises and Friedrich von Hayek, which weren't on any syllabus. It wasn't on any recommended reading list. So yeah, that's what I want to say today, is that don't be afraid of getting things wrong, and certainly don't be afraid of admitting publicly that you've got something wrong. For me, I find it quite liberating. And also I'll say this to my son. Sometimes I'll say to him, look, I have made a mistake about that. I don't pretend to be perfect, and I guess this is what being a Christian involves, isn't it? You understand that all human beings are fallen. We do make mistakes, but what's crucial, I think, what God does expect from us all, is that we publicly admit when we've got something wrong. We tell the truth. We're not dishonest. We don't. Pride is a sin. We don't let our ego and pride get in the way of admitting when we've got something wrong. And this is really, really important, because when we've made mistakes, we need to admit to them, learn the lessons, so that we don't do the same thing again. So that's all I want to say today. So God bless.